Hey cutie, where are you going? Damn, you look hot. Can I take you home with me? Come on, why are you ignoring me? Can I not talk to you? Well, the answer to that question is very easy. No. No, you cannot. So last year in my hometown, I made a failed attempt at fighting street intimidation among young girls with a campaign called Light Up Harlem, to give Harlem more streetlights and therefore hopefully fight street harassment. But nothing happened. The responses to disturbing statistics, personal stories, well-prepared pitches, they were disappointing, to say the least. However, it also made me realize how ignorant people are on the matter of catcalling itself. How it has become something so present, so normalized in our society. Can I see a show of hands of everyone who has ever experienced being catcalled or has witnessed someone being catcalled? Well, take a look around for a second. Today I'm going to unmute catcalling and get into the very specific details of why this needs to be unmuted and why this is something that is simply not okay. I hope to inspire you to see the other side of catcalling and encourage you to take part in unmuting the negative reality of dangerous flirtation, that is catcalling. But catcalling is just freedom of speech. No, it's not. While the court in The Hague said, during a trial regarding catcalling, that verbal and physical manifestation forms of thoughts or feelings are protected under constitutional law, one does not need a law degree to realize that that is not always the case. If that were to be true, then fraud does not exist. Then threats do not exist. Then discrimination does not exist. They can all be seen as freedom of expression. And this new gray space in the law has sparked a wide debate regarding the limitations of public speech. Because to what extent can we say we have freedom of speech if it is limited? And if it is not limited, to what extent are we protected from harm through said freedom of speech? And I'm not standing here to tell you to analyze everything you say or that you even need to be controlled in everything you say. But I'm also not going to sit back and accept that harm is done. But catcalling is just flirtation. No, it's not. Many studies have shown that there is a significant difference between innocent flirtation, less innocent flirtation, and verbal harassment. The term catcalling originates from an old practice where members of an audience would make certain sounds similar to that of a cat as an act of mockery towards the person on stage. Eventually, it became the same as the term wolf whistle, originating from the cartoon The Red Riding Hood, where the wolf would whistle at the sexy female character. But it is not as innocent as it may sound in the word. Research done by several scientists, among them the law expert specialized in the field of sexual violence, Deborah Tuckerheimer, revealed that catcalling causes emotional and mental harm through the feelings it invokes, such as anger, frustration, humiliation, confusion. That's not all. Catcalling can also trigger PTSD in survivors of sexual assault. And Hastings Women's Law Journal even revealed that catcalling can often also have physical responses, such as a raised heartbeat or tension in the muscle or trouble breathing. These are all consequences that coincide with a panic attack. And the Atlantic Journal of Psychology gave some intriguing new insights. They performed a discourse analysis on several women's interpretations of catcalling. Common points in stories illustrated ongoing violence that exists against women. They concluded that this illustrates patriarchal norms that are present throughout our entire societies. But catcalling only happens to some women. No, it does not. The Central Bureau of Statistics in the Netherlands determined that last year alone, at least 2/3 of all women between the ages of 12 and 25 experienced forms of verbal harassment. As you can see here in the graph, it starts as early as the age of 12 years old. And research by organization Stand Up, which is dedicated at fighting street intimidation, discovered that 80% of all women will have experienced being catcalled in their lifetime. If you think about that for a second, that would mean that your friends, your family, people around you, they will have most likely experienced this. CBS also revealed that at least a third of all women don't feel safe out on the streets every now and then. And research by Hollaback and Cornell University even discovered that many people take different routes home, change their type of public transport or transport in general, or just cancel an event because they do not feel safe. It is time we stop considering this as normal and we start calling it a crime. This might initially sound like a drastic measure, but it is not. I'm going to take you through a small proportion that has been done in the research of the criminalization of catcalling in order to convince you that it might not be as drastic of a measure as it initial thought appears to sound like. So in 2014, Belgium made making sexual intimidating remarks in public a crime. The government acted on this after a video of a student being catcalled went viral online. Currently in Belgium, if you get caught speaking explicit forms of sexism, you can be fined up to €1,000 or be sent to prison for up to 12 months. While the effects of this law remain uncertain, it did play a huge part in giving women a voice and spreading awareness. France revolutionized their fight against street harassment after a video of a woman being bothered on the street went viral. A few years ago, Euronews shared that the new street harassment law in France resulted in over 700 fines. Perhaps not nearly enough, but definitely a win. And indeed, French feminist organizations unfortunately did point out that this is only a small proportion compared to the women who actually experience being catcalled. But that does not mean that there is no hope. In England, CPS revealed that it decided to review laws on sexual harassment due to a strong public reaction to the murder of Sarah Everard. And in December of 2022, the government of the United Kingdom publicly stated that they intended to back the bill criminalizing street harassment. One of the things that would be a part of this bill would be making obscene or aggressive comments. These are things that catcalling often entails. But with all these countries close to the Netherlands, these countries close to home, have in common is that their fight was fought after it was already too late. But I'm not only going to stand here today and talk about how change has been way too slow. I'm also going to show you how it can be done and demonstrate that if you speak up, it is possible to take a country into a new and perhaps better direction. A few cities in the Netherlands have already taken those first steps towards criminalization. Even though we might not hear too much about it, it is important to mention those successful initiatives. So in 2016, Amsterdam created rules in order to ban the verbal harassment of women on the streets. Breaking these rules can result in either a fine with a maximum of €4,000 or a few months behind bars. A few years later, hissing, cursing, following, and asking for sex became forbidden in Rotterdam. Doing so would subject offenders to the same punishments as the ones established in Amsterdam. But unfortunately, these laws and the laws in the other countries I've mentioned, they have not yet shown a significant decrease in street harassment. But that is not to say that it will not in the future. An article on the criminal remedies of street harassment stated that when laws are implemented in a society, these laws increase the cost of performing a specific act. And this increase in cost will de-incentivize certain types of behavior. But not only that, the criminalization of catcalling will also be granting victims legal remedies and change society's view on catcalling and its victims. So the criminalization of catcalling will not only show to everyone that this is simply not tolerable, but it will also give a voice to the women who have been a victim. The criminalization of catcalling is an uncertain path to take, but it might lead us to the cultural change we need. Thus, in spite of society's inaction, action is exactly what needs to be taken. And not someday in the future, and not soon, and not when it's already too late, but right now. Thank you very much.